I am your teacher for Strategic Management and Business Policy. As you are aware, we had covered Unit 1 pertaining to Business Policy, Unit 2 pertaining to Objectives, and Unit 3 pertaining to Corporate Planning. Now, today we will be doing Unit 4, which pertains to Corporate Strategy. Corporate Strategy unit has got total 4 subunits. First, the Corporate Strategy, the meaning in the final section, and the second, the strategy formulation, the third, the strategy evaluation, and fourth, the strategy environmental analysis. Now let us start with the first one. Before going on to the strategy, corporate strategy, let us understand what is meant by strategy. The strategy, as it says, is a comprehensive master plan that states how a corporation will achieve its mission and objective by maximizing competitive advantage. The 3 things to be noted are the comprehensive master plan, second, how a corporation will achieve its mission and objectives, and third, to maximizing the competitive advantage. We will be seeing this in the coming slides later on. Now let us see what is the concept of corporate strategy. Corporate strategy, it describes a company's overall direction in terms of its general attitude towards growth and management of its various businesses and product lines. As you know, we had already studied that there are 4 types of strategy: corporate strategy, second the business strategy, third the functional strategy, and then we have the operational strategy. So corporate strategy is above all these things. So that is why it says a company's overall direction in terms of its various businesses and the product lines. So, for example, Tata's is a corporate house. It has got various businesses in terms of steel, in terms of motor cars, in front of Tata Consultancy Services, etc. Those are various businesses. Each business has got its functional areas. Like, for example, we have marketing, finance, HR, information technology, etc. And then each of these functional areas has got the operational personnel who are working for it, and we say operational. So it talks about the corporate strategy, overall direction in terms of the general attitude toward growth and management of the businesses and the product lines, whatever the product that they make, and also associated equipment along with that. Now let us see what is the corporate strategy relating to. So there are 4 things that we will see in that. The first, we say allocating of resources among its different businesses. So resources are in terms of money, material, machinery, manpower, etc. and also human beings, etc. So allocating of resources, how much of resources is to be given to each of its businesses also. Second, that transferring of resources from one business to another. Wherever there is a greater requirement, we transfer it from where it is less required and all that. That's what we say, transferring of resources from one business to the other. Second, managing and nurturing portfolio of businesses. Portfolio of businesses, primarily, you see, how the investment is to be made, which is to be encouraged, which is not to be encouraged and all that, are the various businesses that it's got. And in that, finally, what we are doing for this is to achieve the overall corporate objectives. The highlighted portions are given in this: allocating resources, transferring resources, managing portfolio, and achieving the objectives. Now, before going further, as I explained to you earlier, corporate strategy, let us see what are the various types of strategies. So in that types of corporate strategy, we have first the stability strategy. That is, it requires a marginal change in one or more businesses of a corporate. That is, if a particular business is doing particularly well and some little business which was started, now it has stabilized, so we do not want to make much changes in that, and that we call it a stability strategy. That is, to stabilize that particular business the way it is and all that. Very little changes will be required by the corporate for that. The second is expansion strategies. Expansion strategy is for the high growth by broadening the scope of one or more businesses of a corporate. Now, that is where there is an opportunity available and we have got the resources for that. So, high growth is required for broadening the scope of a particular business or going into more businesses also. For example, Tata started with that steel and they went into do corporate, say, jewelry also, or they went to do the business regarding to motor cars and all that. So that is a expansion. Now let us see what are the various types of expansion strategies. First, what we say, concentration strategy. In the concentration strategy, in a product with same or different markets, or a market with the same or different products. So the two things that you note here is either we are concentrating on a product with the same market or different markets, or we are concentrating in a market with the same or different products. Second is what we say, integration strategies. That is by combining businesses or activities related to the present business. So you are already doing a business. What are the activities? What are the various businesses we can be combining? For example, Kirloskar makes both in terms of mechanical components as well as electrical components to make a particular generating set. Now two businesses combined, mechanical and electrical, to make that it will be an integration strategy. We'll study more about these things later on. The third type of strategy in the expansion strategy would be our diversification strategy. That is a substantial change in business in terms of customer functions, customer groups or technologies. So diversification, that is what business we are having, something in addition to that or a different business altogether. Now there are three terms that are used here: customer functions, customer groups and technology. Let me explain that. Customer functions, for example, when we used to earlier go to the bank or reservation for railways or going to buy a particular thing, we used to go to the particular place to get that particular thing done. Now the customer functions have changed. ATMs are there, machines are there, online transfer things are there. You can order the food from home, you can get through Flipkart or through this thing, our Amazon, etc. So the customer functions have changed. That customer groups, various like for example, customer groups rural or urban, ladies or gents or children. You go to a mall, you will find different sections for different groups of people. Technologies, both for the purposes of providing services as well as for providing various other technological manufacturing things. Technology, for example, hiring a taxi, Ola or Uber. So different technologies have come all together. OYO hotels as another example. Then internationalization strategy. To market a product or service beyond the domestic or national market, as the name itself, that we are now global, internationalized and all that, with the same product or service that we are providing. For example, India provides various services, BPOs, etc. beyond the domestic, or our products are sold in the international market. Chinese products are sold almost all everywhere in the world also. Then we have the third type of strategy, what we call as the retrenchment strategies. This is by reduction or elimination of one or businesses and removing people. If a particular business is not doing well, it may not be possible to sustain that. Either we have to reduce it or close it down. So naturally the people have to be removed, which is a very painstaking effort and all that. That is what we call the retrenchment strategy. And then we have the fourth one, the last one, combination strategy, adopting a mixture of stability, expansion and retrenchment strategy at the same time. Some businesses are doing well, stabilize. Some business there is a scope for improvement, expansion. Some businesses are not doing so well, retrenchment strategy. So this is what we call, but at the same time for various businesses of a corporate. So these four we studied regarding the expansion strategies, stability strategy, retrenchment strategy and combination strategy. There are certain other terms that are used with this corporate strategy: strategic alliances, joint ventures, mergers and acquisitions, outsourcing, digitalization are the other method to pursue different kind of strategy. All these terms we will be explaining later on in the lectures to come. So having studied the various types of corporate strategies, let us see what are the various components of corporate strategy. Components of corporate strategy, let's see a diagram, and in diagram there are four components that we have listed: allocation of resources, organizational design, strategic trade-offs and portfolio management. Allocation of resources, organizational design, strategic trade-offs and portfolio management. We'll see the explanation of each of these terms, although generally speaking you can say the meaning of each of these things, but let us see in specific terms. First, the allocation of resources. Allocation of resources, although there are various types of resources, but here the main focus is on two. One is the people and the capital. People, because they've got the skill, knowledge, experience, expertise, and they've got various other capabilities also. Capital is required, money is required, and for any business is all there. Primarily the aim is to maximize the values of the corporate by spending in various businesses. So as we had seen, one of the functions of the corporate strategy was that allocation of resources. So based on maximize the value of the corporate. Second, organization design. Organization design, as we have studied in organization behavior, primarily the structure of the organization and the system. It involves ensuring that the corporate has the necessary structure and related system with the desired reporting system for supporting that type of a strategy that we want to do. So, in case to implement a particular strategy, we have to have the proper structure and the system, because this will decide on how the decisions are taken, who reports to whom, and then who is responsible for what, etc. The third that we have seen is the portfolio management. Let us see what does it mean. Portfolio management is the way business units complement each other, their correlation, and decide what business it will or which will not enter. In simple terms, portfolio management of a particular business primarily will be that how much to be spent, how much is to be reduced, what is to be there, how it will be complementing the other business, what will be its relation to the other businesses and all that, where should we enter and what is. So, where the investments etc. are required and some cash flows etc. are also to be taken into consideration for that. The next is the strategic trade-off. Let's see what does it mean. To balance between risk and return by considering managing risk generating returns and providing incentive. Two terms that we see, what is the risk and second is the return. You can take risk and spend now, but at the same time if you do not spend now there will be some loss and all that. But if you take say spend now, there may be greater loss also and all that. So or there may be greater gain also. So we have to have a balance between the risk and return. And how we have to do? By managing the risk generating returns and providing incentives so that there is something to fall back upon. So these are the four terms that we mentioned about our components of strategic management, and that. So next thing we call the importance of corporate strategy. After all, why are we studying corporate strategy? It has to have some importance, and let us see what does it involve. So a corporate strategy names the outcome of a company intends to achieve and devises the means to do it. So primarily our main thing is that what are the outcomes and what are the ways to achieve that. Now in that, importance of corporate strategy hinges on these things, that is allocate company resources, establish the business expectation, then improve a company's competitive position and increase the shareholders' value. Let us see small little explanation. We have already seen allocation of resources. So during the strategic planning and budgeting, a company assesses the performance of each business unit, and based on its finding, the resources are allocated according to the desirable of each business and its market opportunity. The second, it was our established business expectation. Business expectation, each shareholder has got expectation and it will depend upon the performance of that. The company conveys its corporate strategy to individual business units to drive performance and establish expectation of internal and external stakeholders. Internal being our employees, management, etc., and external the people who have spent their money or invested their money in with us, and also the market leaders as well as the suppliers as well as our dealers, etc. The third was our improved competitive position, that is which business, because there are other people also in that, to decide the business in which the company competes and manage their activities to improve company's competitive position. That is very important. And the last one in that was the Shareholders value, because people will spend the money only if there is something in return.